Hey, Patrick here. I have a game that I'm going to review that I played against a Rhinar, and I think this matchup is pretty favored for Azalea. They typically don't have enough aggression to kill you quick enough. Your on hits are very like your disruption is very relevant to them, and their disruption really doesn't do anything to you. Like the fact that they can make you not be able to block with cards you want to block with doesn't really matter because you don't want to block too often anyways. There's a chance they can kind of squeak through and get you with one of their like big combos and kill you, but it's kind of a toss up. So looking at equipment though, bringing in the standard loadout, um, bringing in Bullseye Bracer over the long draw. There's a chance that I should bring in long draw, but I think that I prefer the aggression that Bullseye offers over the insulation against Warmongers. And then Death Dealer, Vandal Spring Tunic, and then also bringing in Skullbone. I do have the option to bring in Balance of Justice here, but I don't think I care about. I don't think I care about drawing cards on their Blood Rush turns, or playing towards them doing things like double pulping or double wild ride kind of thing. I'd much rather have the aggressive option that Skullbone brings because it's just gonna be me trying to filter and race properly. And then finally, Snapdragons. But going down to the deck list, I need to bring in 10 cards. So I'm gonna bring in 3 Fatigue Shot, and this is just a good card where it's going to hopefully accrue me, you know, 3+ value. There's a chance it doesn't, but sorry, it's going to be 3+ value on top of the 5 base. But there's a good chance that it doesn't, right? They can just block out. Like Rhinars have a lot of 3 blocks, and they should be running defense reactions into me. So I'm not expecting this to connect too often, but hopefully it does. One Infecting Shot is just a 1 for 7. There's a good chance they can either pay for it or block it out, but again, I just need to pressure them. Also bringing in Ren the Ledger. This is just a good card in this matchup. It's definitely a Ren the Ledger matchup because I want to deny them their pop off turns with Blood Rush Bellows or even things like Scabs. So this card is hopefully just going to line up properly with turns where they want to use multiple action points. And then finally, Remorseless. Both lines of text are relevant here. The top line, because they are probably going to be playing fairly defensive and they get value from, since they have a tough time using all their cards, they usually get value from arsenaling a defense reaction. So I can deny that. And then also the bottom line is good for things like barraging beatdown or on a blood rush turn. It can just push through some damage. But let's hop into it. Here we are in game. I win the die roll and choose to go second. I don't think it matters too much. I think that it's kind of a matter of like preference, and I don't think it sways the matchup too much one way or another. We both have things we can do on turn 0. And you see my opponent going in, rolling Scabs, hitting the 6, and they're likely going to go Claw, and or Claw attack or Claw attack. And it looks like they are going, yeah, Claw attack. Fortunately, it's only a ripple away, so no on hit. That's fine. I can already tell they're playing a more defensive list because they have ripple away, and I saw dig up dinner. And it looks like with the Savage Sash, they also just have a really hefty fridge to make it through. On my side, though, you can see there that I playing out the Rain Razors to hopefully draw into an arrow, which I don't, but I have a pretty good hand to play around that. Fortunately, drawing the take aim and the glide path, it gives me 3 looks at an arrow and giving me something like an 87.5% chance roughly to find an arrow. And there, again, making the decision not to play in such a way that I insulate against not drawing an arrow by holding onto the lace with inertia, because it lets me opt, right. It's already dominated, so I could have forced through an inertia there, but whatever. You can see that, right, immediately I'm like justified for that decision by drawing another non-arrow hand. And even if I did play it out, I still would have been able to do stuff. I would have been able to Codex in the release and then get a couple looks. On their side, I'm never defending that attack. It's not an on hit, and it's only 4 damage. I don't care. Here, I think I'm just giving an extra couple seconds of thought. Yeah, I like that. Even though it's like really obvious that I can just go like triple pump and then shoot the Ren the Ledger Dominated for 14 and have a pre-med on hit. Like, it's still nice to see that I gave a couple seconds just in case there's another line hiding in here, because I should be looking for opportunities to yeah, I should just be looking for other opportunities. But this best case, or like this is like probably the best case I could have had here. Finding the red in the ledger. Yeah. I don't think they should give me equipment here. And yeah, there's no way they can block this because it's released the tension, so they can't even react from Arsenal. Yeah. That looks correct from them. Codex is fine. Alright, so they just follow up with Warmongers. I don't have long draw, and I have a non-attack action in Arsenal, so I'm just going to be... It doesn't matter what I choose here, because I'm just going to probably filter an arrow and then pass. Because I don't need 2 yellows, and I don't need 2 amp arrows, so... Filter away a 1, yeah, and then just send it back. Nothing to do. That's fine, it happens. I time walked them, they time walked me, but my time walk did damage. Notably, they also had to choose war, so they can't use their scabs here. And they could have pummel here, so I just need to play around that. I don't like Rhinar lists are so open at this point, and the list that I was playing like a while ago, almost like a year and a half ago with Rhinar, I was playing pummels and it did really well. So I just respect that card. Here, that's fine. I'm okay to lose my Codex. I have a good hand that functions without it, right? I get to go pitch the yellow, load in the red in the ledger, then pump, maybe even triple pump if I draw into 1. It's all good. Yeah, draw another pump. So just shooting another 14 red in the ledger. This time it's not dominated, but release the tension, still there. Just makes it awkward for them. Release the tension, so good. Especially in these like these matchups where they're bringing in like 6 D-reacts. They might even have reckless swing, so. Small thing there though, they blocked with Savage Sash, even though they didn't need to. So I think they just wasted the 2 block on it. And that's really important. They need, like, that's how you get an edge in the Azalea matchup, or against Azalea, is by really leveraging every single defensive point on your armor. Okay, I find another red in the ledger. I think this is like the 3rd turn. 3rd red in the ledger, and like 3 in a row. Except for that Warmonger's turn where we both just time walked. Here, you notice that I don't think I'm going to use my tunic. Yeah, good. Because I'm fine to just have the ponder here. There's like no way that they could block this out with a defense reaction arsenal, and there's a possibility they have it there based on what's been happening. But I'm fine playing into that. I'd rather just hold on to the tunic because tunic is worth a card, and I don't think... I mean, like, I'd be IPing myself, right? If I still had the Endless Arrow in hand and then drew the card from the ponder. Yeah. Yeah, this looks good. I'm happy I played it that way. Held on to the tunic counter. But they have a really good response to this with the Agile Wind-Up CNC. That's, like, probably the best way they could have responded to me hitting them with a red in the ledger. And based on how they've been blocking, I can kind of assume that that's a barraging or a Bloodrot Bellows in Arsenal. Because it's not a defense reaction, otherwise they would have played it out on that. Maybe they would have played on that last turn. I don't know. It feels like it's a blood rush. But you can see I'm putting a second of thought here, because they intimidated my Infecting Shot. They're not threatening pummel, but I will draw a card off Codex here. It would be nice if I could have blocked with the Infecting Shot and the Fatigue Shot and then held my Arsenal. But I'm not going to get to do that. So yeah, just value blocking with the Fatigue Shot. Good. That's I think that's a heads up block for me. It's fine that I lose the Arsenal because I just get to do this as well. I still have a really good turn. I think I'm good to... Yeah, I was going to say, I think I'm good to just play out the Codex Bloodrot because I'll get the Ponder. It doesn't disrupt them, but it just like cycles itself essentially. And coming in for 8 on hit Bloodrot and Seek and Destroy. They're choosing to block this out. Okay. This is probably their go turn. I don't think they... I guess they're just playing around the fact they could have an Arsenal at end of turn. Okay. so they take 2 off of the Beast Within. They think their hand's good enough. They're going to commit the Sash. Here we go. All right, CNC. It's not going to be 26 damage turn. They would have had to have led with a Brood attack in order to get to that number. So I don't think I'm going to die here. And if I'm not going to die, then my hand is good enough to hold on to. So I'm not blocking this. I still want my equipment. I don't care about knock. So let's just go. Yep. Let's see what they have. All right. 6, then 5, and then 8. So 19 damage. And they took 2 damage from the Beast Within and taking 2 damage from the Bloodrot. That's a pretty good cycle for me. Like it was fine for them, but I think they needed to have a stronger blood rush, draw a few more blues, have a better opener, because I'm just gonna present, what is this? 3 pumps plus a bolt and shot. If they block with just armor, then I rain razors for lethal. They don't, they're just gonna put 6 in front of this. And then play out their card from hand. Don't block with boots. That doesn't make sense. What are they going to do? Okay. Oh yeah, definitely just block 12. That's fine. And I should not try to push damage here. I want the arsenal. There's no disruption that I'm pushing through, so yeah, good. Good decision by me. And you can see the fact that I held on to my skull bone is paying off because I get another opt out of it. And I think now I'd probably block with my Fandral Spring Tunic if I... No, I won't hypothetical that situation. You can see my side though. I have a really good hand. Wow, this is amazing. Leave that on top, definitely, because I think I can go 3 wide with a Rain Razors. Because I get to play that out, play out the Rain Razors, then load in the Bolt and Shot, pitching the Amp Arrow, then read the Glide Path. No, I should hold on to read the Glide Path here, shouldn't I? Because that means I can pump my... Yeah, I think I should hold read the Glide Path, because there's a chance that I find a better arrow on top than... Actually, no, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it didn't matter. Never mind. No, I'm doing this correctly. Yeah. Pump this up to 9. I can leave that on top. I think it's a good arrow to have. That on hit would probably just like make the game even like more locked. Good, coming in for 9. If this hits, then I load the Bolt and Shot. If it doesn't, then I load it in with Bullseye Bracer and then shoot it for 6. Okay, so the only way they stop this is if that last card is a defense reaction. Then they can block 6. They can block with boots, gloves, and the defense reaction. Otherwise, I'm going to follow up with a fatigue shot here. Wow, this is a really good turn cycle. Okay, it wasn't a defense reaction. And cool. Take 3. I'll load in the fatigue shot, shoot it for 7. Dirty turn cycle. Wow. And they should just take this. They don't... Okay, I don't think they should block with the equipment. Their equipment should be held on for breakpoints. Being a 2 is scary, but I don't think that's correct. It makes so they need to worry about Rain Razors, but that I don't think you play around it. And yeah, pitching the drill shot to load in the drill shot, even though the fatigue shot effect is better, doing it this way makes it so that I can arsenal. I don't need to pitch another card. And they still need to give me a bunch of cards here. Okay, so defense reaction and... Okay, 2 defense reactions. So you can see here already, like, if they had their equipment, then they could have blocked... They could have blocked 10. But I guess they're just going to play with their card from hand, right? Or not. They're going to... Yeah, this is a mistake. They should have... Like, you can see right there, right? They're gonna discard that card, unless it's a wind-up. So it has to be a wind-up. It was a sink. Yeah, that's just... They must have been frustrated. But they would have still been in this game. They would have been able to arsenal a sink if they held on to their equipment. So they would have had a sink right here. So how would this turn been different? Okay. I think they would still be dead, right? Because I get back a... No, they wouldn't be dead. Because they'd be able to block this. Yeah, that's a mistake from them. GG. Here we are in the post game, and that was a really fun game to watch back. I'm really happy with how I played, and I think my practice is paying off. That was a game where I didn't see any mistakes that were super egregious, right? I think I piloted the deck into into the matchup very well. And one thing that I noticed watching back is how well I played around the possibility of me just bricking myself with non-attack action hands. Like turn 1 and 2, I think I played really well around that possibility by blocking the way that I did, by playing with the Rain Razors, and by choosing to arsenal the lace with Inertia. So it was cool to watch that back and just see that like I could have totally screwed myself if I played differently there. Um, going up the list though of the matchup notes, the the first point there of just identifying what kind of Rhinar you're playing against is really important. So there's a few tells. It's basically just once they flip over, like you're gonna sideboard the same way no matter what. But once they flip over their equipment, you'll see if they're running claws or club, and you'll also see if they're running tunic or savage sash. So this Rhinar was playing claws with the savage sash, so that just tells me that they're expecting to, or they're trying to play around big blood rush turns. So I expect something like I think it's called like the tank variant or something like that, or the tank claws. I don't know what it's called in the Rhinar circle these days. It was the version that I used to play actually, but that version just wants to play big blood rush turns and using the sash to enable going like 4 wide. So yeah, that's what I picked up like immediately playing this. But I actually have a teammate, Lucas, who plays a more club focused build, and he's tuning it right now. It's like club and intimidate, and it's not. I don't think it's slightly different than what the claws are trying to do. It's less defense reactions, and it's more just like intimidating and trying to use the club, and yeah, use the aggression there that it offers. But yeah, just that's the first thing. Identify what kind of Rhinar you're playing against, and then plan accordingly, and be aware of what their push is going to look like. That does kind of lead into the second point though, where I don't really care about intimidate. It's a good mechanic against decks that want to block more. It's a little bit annoying against us because sometimes it'll take out a card that we really want to block with, but we do have a lot of ways to play around it where we can either just like if they intimidate one card, then our hand is usually like we can just use the card we want to block with to pitch instead, or maybe we just didn't want to block it at all. So it usually doesn't matter. Sometimes when they start intimidating 2 or more cards, it can get a little bit weird because they might intimidate 2 cards that we wanted to block with. Like we had a really arrow heavy hand, and then suddenly we're IPing ourselves when we draw off Death Dealer. So you generally don't care, but sometimes it can get you. But really, most of the time, it won't. And then going down again to the next point is the race mentality. We are going to be the faster deck every single time, and we need to play like it. We need to recognize that if we just trust our deck's ability to push damage and make it through the opponent's fridge, which Rhinar does have now. If we just make it through their fridge, then we should be winning. Our disruption is really relevant, so we just need to try to race them. We need to press damage. We need to make them play kind of panic a little bit by pressing numbers. That does lead into the next point, though, the final point, and that's just don't get fatigued. There's a really good chance that Rhinars can just shift gears partway through the game and start blocking really heavy. And I think this is how they should try to win. I think that Rhinars that are able to shift gears and block really efficiently are going to have a better chance into us. They're just going to play like what a Guardian does. So specifically in this matchup, there was a point where I was worried about getting fatigued, and they kind of dropped the ball on a little bit. So in this game, if say I had fumbled the first 2 turns, right? I drawn those bad hands and I had insulated against it, then suddenly we were at life parity. And then say also later in the game, if they made that different decision with blocking with their equipment and they'd had that defense reaction and their life was a little bit higher, then suddenly I'm in a very fatiguable state because I'm running out of pumps. I think the game ended with me at like 20-ish cards in deck, and a lot of my pumps were used. I think you can even see in the review. I didn't call it out, but there was one point where I looked to my grave to try and count my pumps because I was getting a little bit worried about it. And I think I just kind of barely made it there before we got to second cycle, and I had a really bad second cycle coming up. So yeah, don't get fatigued. But otherwise, I think this is a pretty favorable matchup. I think it should be like a 60-40, honestly, if not if not even better. But that's probably a good sort of base understanding to it.